Hi everyone and welcome back to my booktube channel, Lisa in Bookland. It is Wednesday the 7th of June in the evening and I am just waiting to finish up work. I'm waiting for somebody to approve something so I can send it out to somebody else. But will they do it please, because I actually have Thursday and Friday off, so I'm having an extra long weekend. It's actually my birthday tomorrow, so are you ever old enough that you want to work your birthday? I don't think so, so yeah, I'm very glad that I can have it off. And you may have noticed I'm in a different location. I'm down in Cork again, minding my aunt and uncle's dog, which is becoming kind of an annual tradition. I think this is my third year doing it while they're gone on holidays, so thankfully I can work from home. So yeah, it's like a working holiday for me where I don't need to use any of my holiday days apart from when I want to, like today. Cork is still in Ireland for anybody that doubts that. But yes, I thought I'd do a little vlog. I plan to do loads of reading. I'm really looking forward to it. Tomorrow I'm going to go into Cork City for a look around, so hopefully I'll get some footage of that. And in the afternoon I'm going for afternoon tea, which you know, is a little bit of a treat just for myself and a real luxury, I must say. So yeah, I'm hoping to do loads of reading over these 4 days because I haven't really got any huge plans apart from tomorrow. So I'm actually in the middle of 2 books at the moment. Well, when I say in the middle of, I have 88% read of one of them, and it's a book club book for my in-person book club, and it's called The People on Platform 5 by Clare Pooley. The last 2 or 3 books that we read for the book club were quite depressing, so we wanted something a bit lighter, and yeah, I have to say this is a really fun read. It's funny because my last video I was talking about books about work, and this is definitely a book about work, but I suppose more about computers. It's about this group of like 5 people that kind of get to know each other on one of the trains on their commute between Hampton Court Palace and Waterloo in London, and they get on at different stops and how they get to know each other and change each other's lives for the better. And it really was very lovely and cozy, and yeah, just a great selection of people being looked at. It's really fun. I'd recommend it if you just want a lighter read. And the other book I'm in the middle of, it just started really, and I'm really enjoying so far, is the of course very well-known Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. I'm finally getting to it. This is my second Sarah Waters. I've only previously read The Little Stranger, and I absolutely loved that, even though I understand that it's different than the rest of her books. But yes, what I knew about this book was just from what the blurb, that is set in London in 1862, and it follows this girl who is orphaned at birth and kind of lives in kind of an Oliver Twist type of situation, where she's like a thief, like hence the name Fingersmith. And I actually expected that that didn't sound really up my street, so maybe that's why I kind of left it for a while, even though everybody that talks about this book absolutely raves about it. But like only within the second chapter we'd been taken away from London and we're now in this big country house. Sue has been hired as a maid for this girl who is, it seems very unusual so far, so it did take me a few pages to get into it, but now that I am a little bit into it, I'm just really looking forward to really digging into this book. And I know that it is, and I know that it has lesbian characters in it as well, which is just an extra bonus for Pride Month. Actually in this book, the People of Platform 5, that had great LGBT themes in it as well. So yeah, that's maybe that'll be the theme of my reading this month, which will be brilliant. So in terms of what I'm going to read tomorrow, I know last year on my birthday I reread The Kingdoms by Natasha Pulley, like my favourite or one of my favourite books of all time, and I was deciding what I'd read this year. Now I think maybe during the tea I'll probably read Fingersmith, but maybe in the morning and like in the evening, I just kind of I felt a calling to these 2 books that were like favourites of my childhood, like probably like when I was like 13 or 14, and yes, I don't know, I thought it'd be really fun to revisit them, and I'm expecting they'll be relatively quick reads. They probably will flow into Thursday, but I remember one of them really well and one of them not so well. So this is the one I remember really well, apparently based on like a traditional Nordic tale, so it's kind of a fantasy book. The girl in this book was born in, the main character was born in a certain type of way, which means there's like a prophecy about her. Yes, she actually gets taken away by this bear and kept in this like underground cave, and she has to stay there for a while. See, it sounds very odd. That's why that's why I'm really looking forward to returning it as well. Like, you know, when you just say that as a premise, it sounds really creepy and odd. It was with her consent or with family's consent, but yes, I'm just really intrigued by what I'll think of it as an older reader, and I really did love this book a lot. And yeah, what a beautiful cover. It does a kind of Beauty and the Beast vibes, which I didn't recognise when I was younger. This is kind of one of the secrets of my past, that I actually didn't see any of the Disney films, so I don't think I knew about Beauty and the Beast until like when I was much older. So yeah, I didn't recognise the Beauty and the Beast themes in this until a later point. But yeah, looking forward to that, as I say. And this one is actually funny because everybody that's watched my channel knows that I love books about ships, but I actually I had forgotten that I was always really interested in boats and ships until people have told me. So like a friend of mine used to have a boat, not a yacht or anything, like a smaller fishing boat, and her parents used to bring us out, and I used to love that. But this was one of my favourite books when I was younger, and I'd forgotten about it. The Princess and the Captain. I can remember nothing about this book really. I know it's set in, it's kind of a fantasy book, and yeah, I know that she travels on a ship, and it's shocking that I can't remember any more about it than that, because I definitely did read it a few times. It's a pretty classic setup really for a fantasy book, I suppose. Malva is the Princess of Galnicia, destined to marry the Prince of Andamark, or so her parents think, and she escapes on the eve of her wedding. And then the male lead, I suppose, Orpheus McBot's father dies, and he's at last free to follow his seafaring dreams. So yes, that would be really fun. I believe it's translated for the French as well, so yeah, I just expect that'll be just really entertaining reads for the next 2 or 3 days. So on a completely different note then, I've brought a good few books with me, and I'm so excited for all of them really. Can you tell I'm like really looking forward to this weekend? I wonder if that person has approved that thing yet. But a completely different note, this is the one that was kind of most sticking out to me. I was doing like a mini try a chapter, but only like the first page. And yeah, Trespasses by Louise Kennedy. I read the first like 2 pages and it just really caught me. It's in 2015, and Kushla, the main character, is going to an exhibition, and we kind of, well, you'd know from the context of the book, if you've read the blurb, that it's an exhibition about the Troubles. This book is set in Northern Ireland during the Troubles. The main character, Kushla, is a teacher, and yeah, she's just trying to live her life along with those of her students in these very strange times. If you don't know about the Troubles in Northern Ireland, it was kind of a period of conflict between like the 1960s and the 1990s. Like there was soldiers walking the streets, there was car bombs, shootings, all kinds of horrific things, and it's something that had been in my mind because I just read that book, The Colony by Audrey McGee, and yeah, that just it's ostensibly about, like the blurb, it's about this island off the coast of Donegal, and but really it's just interspersed with these extracts of real stories from people that died during the Troubles. Counting that book, this will only be the second book I've read about the Troubles. It's interesting period in history because my parents lived through it, and I was alive during the Good Friday Agreement, but I actually learned about it in history at school. So yeah, I suppose we're that little bit more distanced from it now that we can write and read fiction about it, but a little bit more serious, but yeah, just different to the other books, I suppose. So yes, that is all the books that I have lined up at the moment. If I do manage to get through those, bearing in mind that like Fingersmith is quite large, I do have plenty more lined up, don't worry. I'll see what I feel like at the time. So yeah, with that, I'm going to log back on and see if that person is approved and have some dinner. Still waiting on that approval, which is sad, but I'm still very much enjoying Fingersmith, and I love a good coincidence. And in this, the Sue, the main character, is replacing Maud's old maid, who is Irish, because the maid has gone back to Cork after an attack of scarlatina. So yeah, I just thought, I'm in Cork reading a book about a maid gone back to Cork. I love a good coincidence. Hello again, it's now Friday the 9th of June, so I haven't vlogged for like a whole day and a half, but Hello, Paddy. It was a much busier 2 days than I anticipated. I suppose I just had a lovely birthday. I went into Cork, did some shopping. Hopefully I caught a little bit of that. I went for a lovely afternoon tea in the Castlemartyr Resort and did more reading on the grounds of that. The weather has been really lovely here, which is a pity for my aunt and uncle who are in Portugal, but you know, good for me. And I spent yesterday off this morning. I actually didn't read anything else on the absolutely wonderful Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This definitely wasn't overrated. Like, what can you say about this? It's just such a terrific ride. Like, I mean, it's so pacey. Like, I couldn't get over like the first third of the book until like the first major twist happens. Oh my god, the twist. I couldn't believe how fast events in the plot were moving. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but like it made sense when we got to the rest of the book. But yeah, it just I just couldn't put it down. Like, I mean, this book is 548 pages long and I read it in like a day and a half. So yeah, just brilliant book. Only my second Sarah Waters, and I'm so delighted that I have loads more to go. And yeah, I was just really happy with this book. I don't know what to say about it. You just never knew what was going to come next. But yeah, definitely worth a read. So what I've spent most of today reading, so like I finished off Fingersmith in the morning, like I said, and then I decided I'd go into Clonakilty for a while for a look around, and I spent about 2 hours sitting down having normal tea, just a brownie and some tea, and reading this book, which is the childhood favourite that I was really looking forward to. And again, oh my god, it hasn't disappointed. It's just as good as I remember. No, the main character is called Ebba Rose, but she's always called Rose. She's the youngest of 7 children, and the mother has named them all after directions of the compass and whatever direction she was facing when they were born. But she has this superstition about north-born children, so although Rose was actually born north-facing, you know, the mother always pretends that she's born east-facing, because north-born children kind of have this tendency to be travellers and wanderers and troublesome. But yeah, like the truth does come out. That's kind of the background, and then the main portion of the story starts, I suppose, when her family start getting into financial difficulties, and this bear appears who could actually get them out of it. But to do that, he has to take Rose away from her family and keep her in this mountain that's kind of like a castle inside a mountain. It is very Beauty and the Beast. I actually must look up, and I'll let you know later in this video, because this is based, I think I said in the introduction, this is based on a Nordic tale, so I wonder if Beauty and the Beast is based on the same tale. The difference, I suppose, between the Beast and the bear is the bear can speak, but in a very limited capacity, and but like the Beast, she has to stay there, and she doesn't know why, and he's not allowed to tell her because of this enchantment. There's trolls in it. At the point I am in the book, things have come crumbling down a little bit, as you probably always knew was going to happen. I can remember up to this point really well, but I can't actually remember the second half very well, so I'm just going to sit down and basically binge it for the rest of the evening. It's now about 10 o'clock, but I'd say I'll finish this tonight. I only have 200 pages to go, but you know, with children's books, this probably is more of a children's book so far. With children's books, you know, obviously the pages just fly by. I'm actually just back from the cinema. I went to see that new film. It's only out today, Chevalier, which is absolutely brilliant, I must say. I played violin myself, so I just loved the fact that the film opened with this like violin battle between Mozart and the main character. It's just absolutely amazing. It's set against the backdrop of the like build up to the French Revolution, so all the unrest. His contribution to music was really hushed up after the reintroduction of slavery in the French West Indies, and yeah, but it's just starting to come to light now, and I really must listen to his music now, obviously, so as well as the soundtrack is really wonderful. I highly recommend it. So yeah, I'm going to settle in and read the rest of North Child, and I'll catch up with you later. Are you upset with me, Paddy, for leaving you alone all day? Good boy. So I've just finished North Child by Edith Pattou, and it was just an unmitigated delight. It definitely held up for all the feelings I had as a child. I forgot something really sad that happened, which is still sad 10 years later, probably at least, since I've read this book. And it's just funny, like, a lot of the reactions I had were completely unchanged. Not only that one, but I remember at the end, like the very last chapter, I was always kind of baffled by decision on where a person lives. I'm like, oh, why aren't you living in the cool place? Why are you going to a normal place? But yeah, sometimes you just never grow up, do you? In practical houses for the world. Okay, yeah, definitely time for me to go to bed, so I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm having the most terrifically lazy morning. The weather is taking a bit of a turn, so it's really misty, and yeah, although nice weather is great, sometimes like you feel like you should be out and doing things and not spending all morning inside reading, which is what I've been doing. I've had probably 5 cups of tea, 2 slices of apple tart, and yeah, and have polished off 2/3 of this book, Trespasses, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's brilliant. It's kind of one of those books that if you're to describe what happens in it, like definitely not much. In fact, if it wasn't set in Ireland, I'd probably hate it because I'd find it really boring. But it's like that thing, I don't mind like more literary books if they're about something I'm interested in. And the background to it is so vivid with the troubles, and I love Cushla's position as a teacher. She's kind of living in a kind of unusual town within the Belfast area she describes it as like a mixed town. Now the school isn't mixed, but a kind of a mixed town. But I think that there's 90% of the town is Protestant and 10% is Catholic, and there hasn't been much trouble there yet, I think we can assume from the tone of the book. Her family kind of runs a pub that she works in sometimes, and the pub has a mixture of clientele as well, and yeah, just their different background. Like it is a Catholic pub, but one of the men that comes to the pub is a brigadier in the UDF, the Ulster Defence Association, which would definitely be loyalist, and that's where she meets Michael, who's a much older barrister who is also a Protestant. And yeah, their relationship is really interesting, that he's married, so it is an affair, but you don't really know anything about his wife. It's very complicated, obviously, the fact that he's having an affair, but also he's kind of from the other side of the divide, if you will. Though he actually has some controversial opinions himself, I suppose, and takes on some cases that other people wouldn't take. And with all this then, there's Cushla's struggles with her mother, who drinks a lot, and yeah, just really, really brilliant book. I'm really enjoying it, and very thought-provoking, definitely. So yeah, I probably am going to finish off this book, and yeah, the weather is clearing up a bit, so I might go for a walk then. That was a very emotional end. Wow. Yeah, definitely a bit of an emotional roller coaster with this one, but I really, really loved it. Can't wait to see what Louise Kennedy brings out next, because yeah, this was such a good debut. I think she's written some short stories before, but yeah, hopefully she'll write many more novels. I am going to chance bring the dog for a very short walk, but look at that fog. It's only 4 o'clock. It's just yeah, we're up very high here. It tends to get very foggy. It's amazing how dogs can guilt you into doing stupid things. Hello again, it is Saturday evening, and excuse the shower hair, but I've started The Princess and the Captain by Laure Bondoux, which is translated from the French by Anthea Bell. And I mentioned that I remembered this book much less well than North Child, but I'm remembering like specific lines of it. They just like ring bells distantly in my memory, and so the princess has already made her escape from the arranged marriage. She's sneaked aboard a ship, and Orpheus has just been told that after being told that he can't be a sailor for his whole entire life because his father told him he had a medical condition, he's now being told that that's no longer true, and he can now go and sail on a ship if he wants. And he's very upset by this news, and I remember finding this funny when I was younger, and it's still as funny to this day. I feel called out by this, by the way. So yes, he's so confused and I suppose upset after being told that by his dying father, that he falls asleep on the armchair, and these soldiers like burst in. They're looking for the princess in every house in the kingdom. This kingdom has these like precepts of tranquility and harmony. I don't really understand them fully, but like they're, I think, the principles by which the kingdom runs. And Orpheus tells them that breaking into his house is very like respectful of those precepts of tranquility and harmony. And then as they're leaving, having found nothing, soldier says, "And seeing as you're so keen the divine precepts added their leader. Sleep in your bed next time. A night in an armchair is anything but tranquil. I've been guilty of falling asleep on the couch myself and waking up at 3 in the morning, so I don't know, I thought that was really funny. Yes, so no, I'm enjoying this so far. Again, in like a quick read, and yeah, I'll see how far I get tonight. Oh, and also, I'm not home at the minute, as you know, my mum has been sending me pictures. We got 6 new battery heads. We were only supposed to get 5, but she felt sorry for when I brought it. And yeah, I just can't wait to meet them. I'm so sad I missed their arrival. I don't know, it's so like rewarding watching them acclimatizing to life and freedom. So yeah, I'll put some pictures here so you can, maybe I'll give you an update after a while to see how much they've progressed. I'm getting loads of TLC from my mum. So just a quick update, it's now very late on Saturday night and I did in fact finish The Princess and the Captain. That's the first time in a long time that I finished 2 books in one day. I did enjoy it on the whole, though it didn't stand up nearly as well to rereading as North Child. It's much more plot driven than North Child, which I'd say is way more character driven, but still quite an enjoyable adventure story. It really reminded me of Prince Caspian in the Narnia series, because they do kind of go to different islands and each of the characters is posed just specific challenges that they have to meet. So yeah, it very much for Prince Caspian vibes, and yeah, like I guess the main character, like she's kind of built up to be like really feisty or whatever, but I don't know, it kind of irked me that she ended up being like rescued quite a lot of times in this, and yeah, she was like, oh, I'm so selfish, and other people were like, no, you're not selfish at all, but she was a little bit. So yeah, like enjoyable to return to this, and I did remember some parts of it, but definitely didn't stand up as well as North Child, and yeah, I'm going to keep it for sentimental reasons, but probably not one I'll return to a lot. In an unexpected turn of events, I've actually finished all 4 books that I had planned to read this long weekend, and it's only Saturday night. I probably will read something tomorrow, so yeah, I'll see what I'll get to then. So it's now Sunday afternoon, and I actually haven't read it all today because I've been catching up on some other things. Most importantly, I've been catching up on booktube videos and just editing some footage I have, and yes, so hopefully want to be good out this evening to make up for the few I've missed. Also, it is actually hurling final day. The Munster and Leinster hurling finals are on. I'm watching the Munster one at the moment while I am doing my bit of editing, which sellout, looks like it'll be a cracker. And Galway are actually playing Kilkenny later in Croke Park. I decided not to go because I felt kind of bad for leaving Paddy alone all day if I'd gone up to Dublin, but I am kitted out in my Galway jersey while I am in enemy territory in Cork. So yes, looking forward to that, and hopefully Galway win. So yeah, I don't think I'll be doing much reading until this evening, which that's fine too. I've done a lot of reading this weekend. Only in the GA, all the supporters came onto the pitch before the match is over, and now they have to hunt them off so they can play a minute or 2 more. Oh dear, always something exciting. Foiled by the Cats by a goal in like the last second. Like, I mean, I'd be as well off to stick to the reading because watching sport is way too stressful. Oh, there's always the back door, I suppose. The year's not over yet. It's now Sunday evening. I had dinner and it's actually now warm enough to sit outside. The weather has been so changeable this weekend. But yeah, I decided in the end that I'd start this book, The Mathematics of Love by Emma Darwin. I read her other book that's set in the Tudor period and I liked it. I loved some aspects of it and didn't like the modern storyline so much. This one is kind of a similar type of setup with a historic storyline that's set in 1819. It's about a soldier who's come back from Waterloo, and then there's a present day storyline about a woman who I think has moved into his house. So yeah, I am a bit apprehensive about the present day storyline. I'm expecting not to like as much, but you know, the historic storyline worked really well for me last time. So yes, let's see how I get on with this one. I'll let you know. I'll probably film one more clip before I close out for the weekend. So it's now Sunday evening. All good things must come to an end, and I'm back to work tomorrow. But this is just a quick clip to close out this long weekend birthday reading vlog. So I'm now 80 pages into the Mathematics of Love, and I'm really enjoying it. Stephen has met this artist, Lucy Dunward, who he's corresponding with, maybe slightly controversially in the Regency era, as they're not married or engaged or have any intention of being engaged somewhere that it looks at, but she is doing a series of paintings for her father that's based on kind of the Napoleonic Wars, and he's telling her his experiences so she can probably, you know, inject as much reality into it as possible. But through those letters we're coming to know Stephen a bit better. But yeah, Stephen kind of has an estate that he's trying to settle back into. He lived abroad for a while even after Waterloo, but we keep getting these hints that there's like a woman in his past who he's still very attached to, but it seems like she might have died, but it's quite unclear. But yeah, that storyline is really interesting. As predicted, the modern day storyline is maybe slightly less compelling, but there is less of it. But it's still quite interesting, I suppose. A teenager, Anna, who seems to be quite unwanted by her mother, who's gone to live with her new boyfriend in Spain and just like cast her out to live with her uncle at this big house. I don't think we're told explicitly that it has any connection to Stephen, but from the blurb I'd say that it's probably his estate. But the house like used to be a school that's now shut up, and yeah, she's just getting used to things, I suppose. But we haven't really found out much more about her yet. But yeah, very, very much enjoying this book, and like, yeah, I just love this period, as you well know. So yes, that is it for my reading for this weekend. I'll probably be going to bed fairly soon. So in the end, I read 3 full books: Trespasses by Louise Kennedy, The Princess and the Captain by Laure Bondoux, and North Child by Edith Pattou. I read the most of one book, Fingersmith by Sarah Waters, even though I had read like 1 or 2 chapters before the long weekend. And I read very small bits of 2 other books. So The People on Platform 5, I finished that off, and I started The Mathematics of Love by Emma Darwin. So yeah, not a bad spate of reading, and I so enjoyed this opportunity just to catch up on some things I wanted to read for a while, and yeah, plenty of rest and relaxation. It was really nice. So this is the book pile in the end, with the exception of The People on Platform 5 that I read on ebook. So yeah, I'm not finished my reading down here yet. My aunt and uncle are coming back on Thursday, so yeah, I'm sure I'll still be doing plenty of reading in the evenings. So yes, that's it for this vlog. I hope it was of some interest to you, and yes, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday for my next video.